Hello everyone and welcome to the next video in this series of videos I'm doing where I'm doing a complete carpentry second fix of this small bungalow. First couple of videos we hung the doors and then I've showed you some skirting and architrave, and what we're going to do now is have a look at these built-in wardrobes. It's not something I do on every job, but in this instance the builder has opted to frame out for these fitted wardrobes. Basically they're sliding wardrobe doors that go on. They're quite simple, go on a simple runner system. But anyway, so the first job that we've got to do, there's two things we've got to do. Get the base threshold in that the runner goes on, and then also we're just going to put a shelf through, probably about 1.8 metres high, a shelf through that we can put hanging rails underneath. So what I've done here, we've got a lovely bit of, this is Meranti hardwood, lovely and straight, picked that up at my timber merchants this morning, absolutely fabulous. So I've fitted that in here. And what I'm going to do now is just put some pencil marks around either side, take that up, and I'm going to mix up some bonding. I think we've got some here. Yeah, some PVA bonding there. Just put a light wash of bonding into the screed first, because then what I'll do after that is, once that's gone off, I'll bond this down with this high performance adhesive. There's a good chance that if I just tried to stick it straight to that sort of dusty, screeded floor, it wouldn't stick. So I've got one to do here, and then as we go through this side, there's also another one to do here, another lovely bit of Meranti on here. So let's get that PVA sort of bonding mixed up first, get that splash down there, and then when that goes off, we can bond these down. It's getting a bit late in the day now, so if I can get all that done and stuck down before I go tonight, they'll be gone off when I come back. This is just raw at the minute here, although it's planed all round. I've just got to take these sharp edges off and just sort of sand it up. So, yep, let's crack on with that. I thought I should quickly mention, here's the doors that we're looking at. Really, really simple. We've got a three leaf door for the wider wardrobe and a 2-leaf door for the narrow wardrobe, and they just literally clip on these sort of fairly simple rollers that clip on this. So here's somewhere, look. Here we go in here, is it? Yeah, as you can see there, look, just a really simple track system. That just screws to the head of the opening that I've made, and then the other one screws to the threshold I'm putting in, and then they just drop into place and really quick and easy to fit. But just thought I'd show you those before I get on. So as I said, I haven't got one of my best pencils here, I've just got an old pencil. So I'm just going to run a pencil down either side here, just so I can roughly see where to paint on. You don't want to be splashing it everywhere. Lovely. There we go, in between those lines. Mixed up some nice gloop there, look at that. Nice, not too thick. Look at that, lovely. Just get that in there. What that does is just seals that screed and just means that when I put that high performance adhesive on, it'll get a really good bond. You don't have to worry about the dust. Just make sure I've got all of that. Beautiful. Do the same the other side. While that, where can we see it there? While that bonding's just going off, what I've done is set the laser up. You can see, I can feel it burning into my face here. I can't stay here too long, else I'll get laser burn. Certainly don't want to get in my eyes. What I've done is set the laser up on this door. I've just clamped it to a door over here, and again, absolutely brilliant bits of kit really. So that's just thrown a line lovely all the way along there. I've set that up, as you can see, we've got 1.8 metres from the floor. So what I'll just quickly do, and I don't want to be treading in this bonding, is I'll just transfer some marks around, get some marks onto this front edge as well, because pretty much what I'm going to do here is put a 2x1 softwood bearer on the back, which I shall fix to the wall there, and then along the front here I'm going to put a 3x1 bearer all the way along the front, which I'm going to fix. This is the stud work here. I'm going to fix into the back of here. I'm going to pack it off slightly so that when the MDF comes flush to the back of this opening, it's not a flush joint, there's a slight setback. You'll see when I come to do it. There's quite a big space there, that's 3.3 metres, so obviously with a hanging rail in there, there's going to be potentially a lot of weight. So I think what we're going to do is either put 1 or 2 uprights in, and I think because this has got 3 doors in it, I think it's got 3 doors, we may well put the upright supports in line with the door, so there's 3 sections. But anyway, I'll quickly bung those marks on there and we can start to cut the batten and maybe think about getting that fixed on. Right, what I've done, I've pinned on each end, I've pinned a bit of upside down skirting, and the reason for that is that the hanging rail has got some fittings on it that hang, that they fit to the underside of the shelf and they hang off the shelf, but on the ends it's on a rose. So I've hung the skirting upside down so it takes that rose to give something nice and secure to fix to. I've just put some adhesive on the back of it and pinned each end, but what I'll do on that external wall there is where the rose goes, behind the rose, I shall actually drill, what I'm going to use, I'll go on in a second, but I've got these 8mm by 100 frame type fixings. I'll put that behind where the rose is, and that'll make a really strong, what's the word? There's a word I'm trying to find. It'll be really strong to hold all the weight of that rail. And the same, what I've done here is cut this piece of 2x1 and I've drilled it and countersunk it, being very careful. If you can see here, here you can see this is where the consumer board's going, so obviously really careful not to put any fixings there because all those wires go up. So I'm quickly going to put this 2x1 runner in, and then I'm going to pin it just with a couple of pins. I'm not going to put any adhesive on it because we're not relying on adhesive there. We're going to use these fixings because there could be a lot of weight on it. So I'm just going to pin this up and then I can drill and use the fixings. So it comes down here somewhere. Putting those 2 bits of upside down skirting each end just means that I've got a nice sort of straight butt joint look, straight into it, super neat and tidy, no scribing or anything like that. Let's get that ish. I'll literally just a little tap, just to hold it in position, because I haven't got anyone here helping me. That's it, I'll leave it now, I'll get my drill and we can get that fixed up properly. Because this is bottom down, so this is plasterboard with a small gap behind and then straight onto blockwork, and there's not really that many fixes that are great into these sort of light Celcon type blocks, so I do find that these frame type fixings get a really good grip. So let's get the drill, get that fixed. Right, we're all set, got my drills, got my fixings, got the screwdriver. Let's go. I'm going to try not to hopefully get too much dust because this bonding that I talked about earlier is still going on, so fingers crossed it won't be dust everywhere. One thing I think I must say is, obviously, as I've said many times in these videos, this is all new work. I know everything that's gone on in this building. I know that I'm not going to hit anything here at all. There's a slight return of roof across here, may at the very worst hit a plate strap coming down. But I know there's no servers, there's no water, no electric in this wall. If you're doing a job like this and you're not sure what's behind the wall, you must check, get yourself a detector of some description, one that can detect electric and water, because what you don't want to be doing is hitting a pipe or potentially hitting a live cable and either flooding the place or worse, doing yourself an injury. So yeah, I do feel comfortable on new builds, especially jobs I've worked on, because I know where things are. But if you don't, make sure you take care and find out what's in that wall before you start drilling. Right, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to show you. These fixings have got like a sort of lip on the end. What I'm going to do in this instance is I'm just going to nip those off, because I've countersunk the batten there, and the countersink really is only just big enough for the head of this screw, not that, you know, if we're sticking that bit in it as well, it may not work and go inside the countersink, and we want to be able to decorate over those afterwards. So let's stick that in. Lovely. Quite loud actually. I've said it so many times before, when you get used to wearing ear defenders, everything's loud. So, you know, I just can't function without them now. And, you know, as you get older and if you don't look after things like your hearing, you'll soon start to lose it. So even that is too much for me. Screwed up. As I've said many times before, these are PZ2, and I like to use, rather than use the impact driver, I like to use a drill on these so you can feel them better, because you can feel as they start to get tight, and if you go past that point you can strip them out. So we've got kind of one shot at these, and I like to be able to feel it with this. So. Oh yes. Lovely, let's put it into those countersinks a treat. Lovely, that's a really strong fixing. So gone are the days of, for my personal experience, messing around with, you know, red plugs or brown plugs and 100mm screws, trying to fix through dot and dab. You can lose the plug down the gap maybe, and red plugs don't fix particularly brilliantly in these light concrete blocks, but these sort of frame fixes, absolutely brilliant, as I've said many times before. So we can get this 3x2 front rail cut in here now, and then we can have a look at cutting the MDF shelf on top of it. So just going to measure for this front piece of 3x2 that goes in here, and it's going to be quite tricky to measure it, and that is where is absolutely fantastic little laser measure is going to come in. Don't use that often, but for things like this, absolutely so glad I've got it on the van. So let's just hold it here, put it back to there, press go, get it so it's in the right place, hit that, wash, what does it say? 3404, let's do it. I've got my bit of 3-1 that's going to run on the front. Got some big, I don't know if you can see those, got some big 6x70mm screws countersunk in the back, and they're going to fix into the studs which form part of this opening here, so nice and strong. So let's see, I've cut it 1mm longer than the measure says, so let's see if it's enough just to hold it in place. Oh, look at that. Yes, right. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to pack this off a little bit. Yeah. Shall I? No, let's pack that off. Let's pack that off. Otherwise we're going to have a flush detail in front, which I don't really want. Let's get it packed off. I've got some spaces now. Just some 5mm spaces. Make a slightly nicer detail on the front, I think. Space there. Right, let's hope it doesn't fall out the other end. Leave that there. Too loud again. Yeah. Space in the right place. Yep. Lovely. Right, let's go. Woohoo! That's mighty. That's not going anywhere. Straight back into that stud. Right, that's pretty good. Obviously, you know, we know we need some supports because this just isn't strong enough on its own, but when we get maybe a gable support in there and one in there, that'll become super strong. So that's really cool. We'll do the same on the other end, on the other wardrobe now, and then after that, it's going to be a case of cutting some MDF. Right, it's almost the end of this working day, and the last thing I'm going to do, as I said earlier before I leave, is stick down these little thresholds here, and that bonding that I put down has gone off now, so I've got some sticks like over there, so I'm just going to put plenty on there and lay that on, and that can be going off, and that'll be nice and rock solid for the next time I come. If I think it's all fairly straight, but if it needs any weight on it, I've got a load of tiles here that I can put on it, so let's just let's get some adhesive down and get that stuck on. Here we go. That's gone. Got another one ready. You'll see there that I kept the angle of the gun quite low, so it leaves the bead quite well set up, you know, quite a thick bead off the floor there, so that obviously any discrepancies in the floor that will take up. Rather, if you keep the gun too upright, you can tend to flatten the bead as you pull it out. So let's get that one there. See, I know, make sure it's the right way up. Yeah, because I took the edges off with the planes. That should just now nicely. In we go. Bosh! Look at that. Give it a little, oh, that's just wiggling out. Look at that. Lovely, don't want to trim it anymore. You'll see that I gave it a nice wide wiggle because I want it to, you know, be bonded almost all the way across. A little bit loose up there, not worry about that because it's only on the floor. It looks like it's down, it's not bowing, like I said, this lovely straight bit of wood. So that's that. I've bonded on the other side, and as I said, next time I come to do any more work on this, that's going to be absolutely rock solid. Right, it's a new day. Well, actually, it's a new week, so I've had a nice restful weekend. So now all of this is done. That base rail, floor rail has gone off. The threshold's gone off. Decorator's been in. Actually, just quickly flick that round. He's been in and decorated all these doors. Put 2 coats of Osmol on, so they're lovely and protected now. So as I said, all I'm going to do now is get my MDF, which is all in here, all ready to go, and I'm going to start cutting that, and we can get those laid in. The fitching has been delivered, so I'll start kitting that in another video. But yeah, so let's get cracking. There's actually, I was wrong, there's 4 doors on here, so I'm going to put 1 central divider down the middle, and I think that will then give that enough support that if you get a lot of weight with clothes and stuff on there, that won't start sagging. And in the back here, there's 3 wardrobe doors going here, but I think that span's not that big, and I think that should be strong enough as it is. So, right, anyway, let's get going. See if that fits. Should fit, just allowed a little bit of tolerance there. Oh, excellent. Right, measurement here. We've got there 990. Right, talk about a bit. 990. Plonk this bit in. Here we go. 990. See if that fits. Oh, that's lush. I think that's all right. Just off the wall a little bit. What's going on there? Let's go back a bit. Let's get those edges lined up. Lovely. Excellent. So, to do that joint, I think I'll just leave that butt joint as it is there. Probably put a little bit of glue on it, just maybe just sand the edge off it slightly because you're always going to be able to see it. So, yeah, that's excellent. Then I'll just put some screws down into that. Yeah, so we can do it. Bosh! That is in. Just use the square there, just set the adjustable square up to a nice little margin. I didn't want to guess that, I did it on the back a little bit, but I know no one's going to see them, but I like to try and keep things in line the best I can, and then I've measured out so the screws at equal distance. Put an extra few screws in there because they were somewhere 600 centimetres, nowhere near enough. So, as I said, what we do now is cut, while I'm at it, cut a central support leg all the way down there. This is 427 mil, 437 mil wide, these shells. So I've cut 2 out of a board, which means there's only going to be about, I don't know, what's going to be 350 odd mil left. I think that will still be alright. I don't have to come right the way forward here. So this centre divider won't be the same width as the shelf, but as I said, I don't think it will matter. So let's get that cut fixed in. Probably, not quite sure I'm going to fix that. Maybe might just bond it to the wall because it doesn't need to be fixed to the floor. A, there's underfloor heating in it, and B, it's got carpet which will hold it. So its main function is to sort of support the sort of lateral load that's going to end up being on there through the hanging rails. Excellent. I've cut this centre shelf. What I'm quickly going to mention is you can see this MDF. You can see down there. Look, I don't know if you can see how bowed that is. That is because when whoever delivered this building has, as I say, just been plastered out, and this MDF has been sat here for a couple of weeks. What has happened is it's been leant up against the wall, and what's basically happened here is the moisture has been able to get at one side of the board that's been facing outwards, and the side that's been facing against the wall hasn't got the same amount of moisture, so consequently it's bowed. So this is a really good example of why, especially with things like MDF, you have to be really careful how you store them before you use them, and this really should have been laid flat. So the problem I've got now is that obviously I just want to bond this. I just want to bond it to the wall. Obviously up here it doesn't matter because we're screwing it to the battens that we fixed on. And I don't want loads of angle brackets up and down here. So what I've done, let's say if this was nice and straight, no problem, just put some adhesive down the back and stick it on. Now what I've done here, if you can just see, I've cut some small offcuts of doorstop I had laying around, and I've pinned one to the batten at the top, one to the skirting at the bottom, and then that's on one side of this 80mm, on the other side I've pinned one in the centre. Obviously these are just pinned on, there's not glue or anything, so they'll just pop off and tiny bit of fill will go in. What that's going to enable me to do is stick this piece of MDF back, but these will hold it straight until the glue's gone off, and then obviously I can whip them off. So let's get my adhesive. Again, as I said, that support isn't the same width as this shelf. It doesn't have to be, as long as it catches the part of the shelf where the I think they're either going to hang the rail off the shelf. I don't know what fittings they've got, or there'll be a rose fittings for the rail on that what I call gable, that upstand. So it doesn't have to be full width. So let's carefully put a bit of this adhesive down here. And I'm going to put it on the floor. I know I haven't bonded the floor like before, but it doesn't matter so much if it doesn't stick because the carpet will keep that in place. So let's carefully get that into position so we don't end up, don't want to push the upright onto this adhesive and swap it side to side. I want to put it in and then sort of get it upright. I know it might slide on the bottom and then push it back. So let's see if I can do that. It'll be easier said than done, is it? Make a mess. You're coming with me on the journey if I make a mess of it. Here we go. Stick it in the floor first. Come out a bit. Past them stops. And then up to that stop. And then back we go. Lovely. Look at that. Down in there, that's all pre-drilled, ready to go. Just put a small, I've said this before, just a 2mm drill down into the end of that MDF. It stops it splitting when I put the screw in. So there we go. There it is. So that's good. It's bit bowed on the front there, there's something I can do about that. But obviously, hopefully, as the moisture settles in this board, it should straighten itself up. But that's that. Let's have a look. Yeah, so you can see that that's this little tab on this side stops it bowing this way, and that tab on that side down the bottom stop it bowing that way. Obviously, look, I've splurged out a little bit on the bottom. Not too worried about that. There's a slight bit of splurge on here, but again, I'm not going to put my finger in that. I'll leave that and probably just cut that off afterwards when it's gone off. So yeah, that forms a nice support up there now. So as you can see, this detail I talked about by packing this front 3x1 off, it just leaves, I prefer that just to sort of, rather than be flush, it just sort of sticks forward slightly. It's not got a flush joint. So yeah, that's really good. As I said earlier, when I come to fit the rails, I'll put a big fixing in there, and what I'll do sort of similarly on this end is because I know there's a stud here, because it's a stud wall, I know there's a stud here and a stud here, what I'll do is put a fairly big fixing down in screws down into there, and then that'll hold that rose. So that's it. Really, really simple stuff. Do the same on the other one, and then I'll show you clipping on these, cutting the runners and fitting these wardrobe doors. Last couple of jobs now just to fit these doors, but firstly I'm going to put these hanging rails on. So as I said, I'm just going to put the roses on, put that fixing in behind where the rose is going here, and do the same as I suggested, screws either side and the rose on that side. Cut these tubes so I can get those mounted up, and then the rails for the doors are in here. I've looked at those already. So cut the pair to length here, one for the bottom, one for the top, same for the other bedroom, and then it's a simple case of clipping on these doors. That's all those rails done now. It really is time to start fitting these wardrobe doors, sliding wardrobe doors. I think they come from Howden's. Really, they are the epitome of simplicity, these. So we've got two rail packs here. You have a top rail, which is here, and a bottom rail, which is here. And basically give you a pack of screws as well, and all we need to do is cut them the width of the opening. Now I will say that all of the work has been done. When you look at fitting these wardrobes, you get the information that comes with them, and it tells you exact size of opening. So I've obviously planned this all out to make sure we've got exactly the right size between a 20mm hardwood threshold and obviously the plasterboarded reveal. So this is plasterboarded all the way around. So it's a simple case of taking a measurement on the top from the plasterboard to the plasterboard, same at the bottom, cutting the top and bottom rails, and then just fixing them, and then really simply, these just clip on. There's me, look. Really simply, these just clip on the top, and they clip into the bottom, and then there's a little leveling pegs on the bottom. You just level them up, so they all sit nice. So let's get that done. Just quickly say, this is another absolutely fantastic job for this little laser measure. Saves a lot of messing around. Obviously I can just put it up here, look. I can even do it. Put it up there, press the button. Hang on, is it going to do it? Let's do it. Live demo, here we go. Put it up there, look, press the button. Where's the laser? That side, look, can we see that laser there? Yeah. Hit the button, bosh, look at that. So simple. 3, 2, 20, excellent. Yeah, superb for jobs like this. That goes there. Bosh. He didn't want to touch it in case he marked the seam. Give him a right load of grief. Right, so there you see, that's those doors all on now. They make a really nice, sort of neat job of finishing off this room. When you walk in here now, you've obviously got these lovely sort of finished wardrobes, pair of mirrors again, makes a really sort of useful space. Obviously that wardrobe can now be used. It's got this hanging rail up here, nice shelf above here. If someone wants to sort fit it out further. There's places like IKEA do some great sort of storage solutions. Obviously these doors now slide really nicely. So you can just see me there. So those doors slide really nicely. And you can see, look, it really sort of transforms that room. We've got the same in here, exactly the same. We've got 3 doors in here. Look, there I am, look, hello. Exactly the same. So nice and easy to fit and not particularly expensive. So that's about it for this video on these fitting out. It's not particularly difficult, is it really? Putting some shelves in and some battening and some rails, and most of the work, as I think I said, maybe if I'm repeating myself, sorry, in fitting these doors is making sure you get the opening right in the first place, but that's in the details of the, they've got like a brochure that tells you what opening sizes need to be. So yeah, super easy to fit. And I'll just quickly show you, I didn't show you, I also got this double cupboard here is done as well, so pretty simple stuff. It's gone a bit dark, sorry. A couple of little shelves into the corner there, and then a big shelf on the top here. Again, really simple, just run a batten round. Brought this shelf forward very, very slightly. Again, I didn't pack this rail back, I just brought this forward because I knew that these doors weren't going to interfere with it. So there's a couple of little slots in there for these pipes that are going to come down eventually. That's the underfloor heating manifold. I've got to box all that. So that is that. So yeah, and it's not fantastically technical, doing these kind of wardrobe stuff, but I just thought I'd show you anyway, because it's some of my jobs are really sort of technical, you have to think about, and some are really quite easy. So that's the end of this video. I hope you've been able to follow it, and as always, I hope you found it interesting, and thanks for watching.